She was being harassed on a train, a single dad defended her without thinking twice. The subway car was crowded, the kind of crowded where personal space became a myth. Elbows brushed, bags jostled, and the occasional apology was muttered into the air. Amid the chaos, Grace sat clutching her tote bag, trying to dissolve into her seat. She had endured the day, a long shift at the hospital, followed by a missed train, and all she wanted was to get home. But as the doors slid shut, she became uncomfortably aware of a man standing too close. His gaze lingered, sharp and invasive, and his muttered comments grew louder, unmistakably directed at her. Grace felt her throat tighten as her fingers clenched the strap of her bag. She tried shifting in her seat, hoping he'd take the hint, but he only moved closer. The space around her seemed to shrink with each passing moment. Others on the train seemed engrossed in their own lives, eyes glued to phones or distant stares fixed on the passing tunnel walls. No one intervened. At the far end of the car, Liam adjusted the straps on his daughter Mia's backpack. It was their weekly routine: take the train to her piano lesson, grab hot cocoa afterward, and talk about everything from school projects to her latest cartoon obsession. Mia, all of 8 years old, was perched next to him, her curly hair bouncing as she recounted her day. Liam's laughter rumbled low as he listened, but his eyes, honed by years of being both mom and dad, scanned the train out of habit. That's when he noticed Grace. Her discomfort was palpable, her body curled inward as if trying to make herself invisible. The man towering over her seemed oblivious, or indifferent, to her obvious unease. Liam's stomach tightened. He had seen this before, the all-too-familiar scenario where a woman was cornered while everyone else looked away. Without a second thought, he stood. "Excuse me," Liam said firmly, his voice cutting through the hum of the train. He stepped between Grace and the man, angling his body to block her from view. "You're making her uncomfortable. Back off." The man blinked, startled, before his expression turned defensive. "Mind your business," he growled. "This is my business now," Liam shot back, his voice steady. He felt Mia's small hand slip into his own, and he squeezed it for reassurance. "She said nothing to you, so leave her alone." For a moment, tension crackled in the air. Grace's heart thudded in her chest, torn between gratitude and fear. She dared to glance up at Liam, catching his calm but resolute expression. The harasser huffed, muttered something unintelligible, and finally moved away, retreating to the far end of the car. The train jolted as it sped into the next station, and the suffocating tension began to lift. Liam turned to Grace, his expression softening. "Are you okay?" he asked. Grace nodded, though her voice caught in her throat. "Thank you," she whispered, her eyes misting. Mia tugged on Liam's sleeve. "Daddy's like a superhero," she said with a wide grin. Her innocence brought a ripple of laughter that broke the lingering tension. Liam crouched to her level, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Sometimes, being kind is the best superpower," he said, ruffling her curls. As the train pulled into the next station, the harasser slipped out with the crowd. Grace exhaled deeply, the weight of the ordeal finally lifting. She smiled at Mia, who was now perched on the edge of her seat, happily swinging her legs. "Your dad's a good man," she said softly. Mia beamed. "I know." The moment lingered, strangers exchanging quiet smiles as if reminded of something forgotten. The world could be cold and indifferent, but not always. When the train reached their stop, Liam and Mia prepared to leave. Grace hesitated before standing. "Wait," she said, reaching into her bag. Can I treat you both to hot cocoa or something? It's the least I can do." Liam shook his head. "No need," he said with a kind smile. "Just take care of yourself. And don't be afraid to speak up next time, okay? People will stand with you." Grace nodded, her chest swelling with a mix of gratitude and resolve. As Liam and Mia stepped off the train, she watched them disappear into the bustling station, their laughter carrying through the air like a bomb. For the rest of her ride, Grace couldn't stop thinking about them. It wasn't just Liam's intervention, it was the way he taught his daughter to see bravery as a quiet, everyday act. That kind of kindness rippled outward, she realized. It inspired others to stand a little taller, speak a little louder, and act when it mattered most. When Grace reached her stop, she felt different, lighter, braver. As she stepped onto the platform, she smiled at a passing stranger, who smiled back. Maybe it was small, but it was a start. Message. Because sometimes, the world doesn't change through grand gestures but through moments of humanity shared on a crowded train.